Hi, I'm John Bishop with Dorsey Metrology. We're here to do some training on the M2 software using a Dorsey 16H comparator. Of course, it can apply to most any comparator as long as it's M2 software. First thing we're going to do is we're going to turn on the power to the comparator. Okay, so we're going to turn on the power button, and you can light up the screen if you want. And the next thing we're going to do is turn on the power to the computer. Come over here, turn that on. Give it just a moment. Okay, so now it's up, and up here in the top where it says the M2 software, we're going to hit that a couple of times. It's a touchscreen computer. Okay, so what comes up, it's automatically to the point where you just got an XY readout. In fact, you know, you'll have some companies that will only use the XY readout. You know, if they want to zero out to a certain spot on the comparator on a point, then what they'll do is they'll just zero, and then they can move to another location, like on the other side of that hole right there, and it tells them it's 2 inches and how far they travel. Well, that's one way you can use the software, but the software is capable of doing a lot of things other than just like a DRO readout. You can also go and use the M2 MetLogix software to where now you've got the icons here at the bottom for distances, angles, diameters, you know, a lot of capabilities. So the first thing we're going to do after showing you that, you know, that's just what you want, because also you know the Q-axis, which is the angle. You know, if I rotate the screen, it tells me what angle I'm going to. So you also have that capability right off the screen as well. So let's do this. Yeah, if you tap the screen, all that'll go over there. So first, let's go ahead and calibrate the light and dark for your edge detection. Okay, so I'm going to come here and I'm going to click on the X, and you'll see the icons: crosshairs, edge detection, automatic edge detection. All right, this is going to be the calibration of the light and dark for your edge detection. And it tells you to move the sensor in a lighted area, which it is in the center of the hole. Okay, so I'm going to say next. And it says, all right, move it in a dark area. So I'm going to take and joystick down. Okay, and I'm going to say next again. Now it says put it back into the lighted area one more time. So I go up, and I come over here and I hit next one more time. And it's done. All right, so now we have the edge detection calibrated. So let's say that I want to measure a line at the bottom of this part. Okay, I can come here, and by using the edge detection, I can just go across it. Or better than that, I can just say line. Okay, that's what I want to measure. So now, it clicked one time. We go over to the other side. Oops. Took a bad hit. Okay. And say done. Right, there's your line. Okay, so now I want to align that, align the axis. So I'm going to come here to the alignment symbol, click on that, and say I want to align, I want to square it up, okay, and I want to use this line, and I want to say done. So it orientated. All right, now I want to measure another line on this side over here. So I hit line, and it's 1 point. Second point, done. So now I got 2 lines. I want to create an origin at the intersect of these 2 lines. So I want to create a point. So I'm going to say point. And I want to create a point out of this line and that line. And say done. Okay, there's my point. Okay, I want to set an origin there. Okay, so if I come here and I say, okay, go back to my alignment. I'm going to come over here where I want to set 0. Okay, and I want to say that point and say done. So now that's a datum 2. All right, so now we've got this line right here on this surface. Well, we want to measure that. So rather than telling the machine that I want to measure a line, the software is also capable, if I just go across the same spot twice, it'll automatically start measuring automatically, and it'll be able to identify what I'm measuring. So if I come over here to get my other point on this line, and I say, okay, I'm going to go across it twice again. I'm going to go once to take the point, and then back again to let it know I'm finished. And hey, there's your other line. Okay, so now I can come here on this line here and do the same thing. Come over. Boom. There's that one. Now, the beauty of this software as well is that as you're measuring your part, it draws it out as a 2D CAD model. So you're drawing your part out in real time while you're measuring. So if I come here, go over here, so you kind of see how easy it is now. Once you get the hang of moving your joystick, you can really fly through your dimensions. Look here. In fact, we almost got the outer edge of this thing completely measured. I'm finishing this out because there's some things I want to show you. Yeah. This is cool. Okay, here's a radius. Okay. I can tell I want to measure a circle or whatever, but I want to measure a radius, so I'm going to go to this circle. And this also has a radius icon, so now I'm going to hit radius, and I'm going to come across this radius right here. Done. There's a radius. Okay, now I'm going to finish this little line right here. That way I have a complete boom. There's my whole part. You know, I mean, as far as the holes. So let's say you want to measure this hole right here. You don't have to tell it that you're going to measure that hole. Just go across it twice, same spot it starts. Now, just boom, 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 and then back across it again to finish it. Now, if you have a manual machine, of course this one is CNC, if you have a manual machine, you're going to be turning your knobs, adjusting up and down, but you still have the same capabilities. Okay? It's just like this other circle here, just bap. Come over. Go through. You're done. There's that hole. And let's go ahead and do this one here. And double tap. There's that hole. Okay. Now let's say you want this big hole. Just double tap. Okay. Now, let's say you want to know the angle of this line and this line. Okay. What you want to do is that you want to say, okay, I want to know the angle. So this is a symbol for angle. So if I say angle, and it says, okay, what do you want to know the angle between? Well, I want to know between this one and this one. And then say done. And it tells me that it's 120 degrees, 1 minute, 24 seconds. Or I can come here where it's set on decimal degrees. I can also change that to now it's 120.023. Or, you know, whether you want decimal degrees or minutes, seconds, you know, it's fine. It's up to you. Let's say you want to know the distance between two elements. Let's say, okay, I want to know the distance, okay? And you just touch the 2 points that you want, or 2 circles or whatever, and say, okay, done. There's my distance. Okay, well, let's say you want to know what the outer distance is or inner distance is. There's a change button here. This change button says, okay, I can now give you the inner distance. Okay, I can give you the outer distance, or I can give you the center distance. You pick and choose which one you want. Let's say you want to create a line between the elements because everything's going to be based on a certain distance and a certain angle. So, okay, I want to create a line, and I want to use this element, and I want to use this element. And I say done. There's your line. Okay, now I want to know what that angle to that line to my datum surface is. So I say, okay, there's my angle. I want to use that line, and I want to use that line. Boom. It says it's 45 degrees, 1 minute, 40 seconds. Okay? Let's say, for instance, this hole becomes 0. You say you want to set an origin here. Alright, so what you do is that you hit the alignment. You say, okay, I want to set origin. It says, where do you want to set origin at? I want to set it on that circle. And then you say done. So now that's your datum. Alright, let's say you have a tolerancing on a hole. Okay? Touch the hole. Alright, here it is. This is your hole, the location, X and Y and diameter. So if I touch that, bring it over, it says okay. In the X, it's 7.996. In a Y, it's negative 3.997. Your diameter is 1.998. And your roundness form is 0.001 millimeter. Okay. All right. So we want to go to nominals. So I'm going to touch this, and it's going to bring the nominal up. Let's say the nominal here is supposed to be 8. Okay, so we're going to say 8.0. And let's say this is supposed to be negative 4. So we're going to come here and we're going to say negative 4.0. Okay, now let's say this is supposed to be 2. Alright, so we're going to come here and we're going to say 2.0. Done. Okay, well here's the other part too. Let's say you want to name this on your print. Your print might be ballooned with like 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5 or whatever. So we're going to come here and we're going to call this, we're going to say 0.23 on the print. So we're going to come here, we're going to say point PT dash 23. Say enter. Okay. So now it's labeled as 0.23. Okay. So I'm done. All right. Now let's say you want to look at your data while you're running. Well, you can come up here and just go, I want to see my data. Well, this is your data of everything you're doing. Let me see if I scroll this up. Yeah, you can see right here where we put the anomalies. We didn't put the tolerancing in. I should have did that. Let's pull up 0.23 again. Okay, this is your actual. This was the nominals we put in, and your tolerancing. Let's say X. Let's say 0.1. Okay, 0.1 and Y 0.1. Okay, now let's say what about diameter? Okay. Okay, tolerancing. Okay, so let's put a diameter tolerance in down here. And we're going to say 0.1 on that as well. Yeah, just for giggles. And say done. Okay? And everything is good. If it was bad, it'd be red. So done. So now if you go back to the report again, here's everything you measured. And here's your tolerance, and it tells you whether you pass, fail, whichever. So, but that's how you do your tolerancing too. But again, you can name your elements whatever you want to match whatever on your blueprint. Okay? Alright. Yeah, whenever you want to go back to what you were doing, just move the stage, move your joystick, and it puts everything back to square one. Okay, now I want to move that over there and the image over here, so I just come here and just touch the screen and it switches for me. Okay, now this is a CNC machine, and for those that have a CNC, you have a go-to, okay? If you'll look at the screen, you'll see that my crosshairs is in the middle of the hole, okay? Now let's say that I want the machine to go somewhere in space. Like for instance, I want it to go to this location here, okay? Okay, and that location is approximately 3 inches in the X, okay? So, but anyway, done. Go back. All right, so here, I'm going to put it back here, okay? And I'm going to say go to. And, I want to tell it where I want to go. Let's say I want to go 3 inches, okay? Or I'm sorry, 3 millimeters. So I'm going to say 3.0, okay? And in a Y, we want to make it 0, make it center. So we're going to say 0 in Y, up and down. Okay? And you're going to see this move. So if I say done, now you see where it goes. Okay? Now, I can do that. I can tell it to go to a certain point in space by clicking in whatever numbers I want. Or, let's say I want to go to a certain spot in space. I know where I want to go, but I don't know what the numbers are. All I got to do is just touch the screen. So if I touch the screen here, you're going to see it move. So watch the screen over here. So if I hit there, boom, there it goes. Or let's say I want to go to this hole. Okay, so if I hit go to, and I hit that hole, boom, there you go. Isn't that cool? There are just so many things that you can do with the software. I mean, you know, most people will probably use less than 10% of the capabilities of the software. It is a touchscreen. The metric up here at the top, you know, when before, you know, we had degrees, minutes, and seconds, and then decimal degrees, you can change it there. But you also have alignments here. You have Cartesian and you have polar. Polar mode is like when you're measuring round parts, you know, a circle. Everything is in a kind of a polar direction as far as alignment. Or you can use the normal Cartesian X, Y, and Z rather than on the radius signs. Again, and if you have a bad hit, you know, it's like, for instance, if I'm taking a point and I don't want that point, you know, just come up here and just tell it to go back, you know, wipe it out. Again, it's like, for instance, let's say I want to know the distance between my walls here. I can just say distance, okay, the little arrow, two-headed arrow, touch that. So I want to know the distance between that line and that line. Say done. There's my distance. Or I can also say, and there's my distance here in 1.985. Okay? And let's say I want to know up and down too. So if I say distance again, and I want to know the distance between this line and this line. Done. Which is 1.989. And again, if you want to tolerance that, again, just come over, touch it, because all right, this is your actual. Okay, you want to kick in a nominal. The only one you're concerned with is the length distance. So let's say it's supposed to be 2.0. So it's 2.0. Okay. Now I want to name this. Let's say 0.13. Point PT dash. Let's say 13 on your print. And say enter. Okay. And then you say you want to make the tolerance, okay, so nominal. So now your tolerance and your length is going to be 0.05. 0.05. So done. Done. That's in spec as well. You know, I mean, it's, again, there's just so many things that you can do. And it's very easy. And plus, if you ever need to get a hold of me, my cell phone number is always available. You can reach me, and you can write this down. It's 615-476-6128. Again, 615-476-6128. But yeah, just give me a call pretty much any time, or you use call Dorsey direct. Okay, some other areas. You know, I'm trying to cover as much as I can without boring everybody to death. You know, your management can also put a password on the software because you have settings within the software. I would not suggest any passwords for individuals. A lot of them, it just, you need to have maybe a couple if you're going to do this, because it does create havoc down the road in case a member leaves the company or whichever, and they're the ones that knows what the password is and no one else does. So I don't suggest it, but the software is capable of password protection. Also, going down my list here, make sure I'm trying to cover everything as I possibly can. On the lens, of course, on most all the machines, except the larger machines which have a turret, to change a lens, you'll see a little red dot there, which is, you can press that in and rotate it counterclockwise where it matches up with this red dot, and the lens just slides out, and you can slide another one back in its place, whether it be a 10x or a 20x, 50x, or whichever. So, but no, that'll work good for you as well. Also, now, here's something that's important as well, because not everybody's going to be using edge detection. They may want to use the crosshairs. So if I come here, okay, and I hit on my icon, and so I want to use my crosshairs. So if I hit that, okay, so now I'm measuring strictly by my crosshairs. So if you'll see the screen here, let me focus, make it sharp as I can. In the screen, you're going to see the X, but actually in the center of this one here is a really tiny little hole. So I can actually put this on measure mode where I'm moving really slow. Come over to the edge, and I'm going to take a point right there. So I'm going to say point, and I'm going to enter that point right there. Say done. Okay. All right, now I'm going to go to the other side and put another point. Really? Okay, so now I'm going to say point, enter, done. Okay, so there's my 2 points on that slot. Excuse me. So now I want to know my distance between those 2 points. Okay, so I'm going to touch that point, and say done. And my distance is 1.981. Pretty close. It's supposed to be 2, but this is not a master, so, but we're talking about millimeters. Okay, and also the radius. If you want to know what the radius size is, just click on the element. It says, okay, the radius is 2.001. Your form error, roundness, is 0.004 millimeters. Your diameter would be a 4.001. And as far as the location in the X in relationship to your 0 is 13.995, and a Y if it's perfectly 0 in a Y. So that's good. Okay. Now, let's see. It's a little bit different when you're not here with me to ask questions. And on the holes, here's something else that I haven't touched bases on yet. Okay, so we're going to come here, we're going to measure a few more holes, except this time we're going to do it in the auto edge detection because it's quicker. So, okay. Let's get these 2 holes here, and I'll show you something else that you're also capable of doing. happened? Okay, let's go back here. It's something here on this radius that didn't like that. Huh. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna measure this. Delete. Delete. Okay. I must have hit a piece of trash. Okay. Okay, there's my hole there. Okay, so now we have these holes. All right, now let's say that you want to know what the bolt hole pattern is here. So what you can do is say, okay, I want to create a circle, okay? And I'm going to create a circle out of this hole, this hole, this hole, this hole. To get me a bolt hole pattern, say done. Okay, so that diameter is on the X 0.008 millimeters off from dead center, and a Y 0.001 millimeter off in the Y. That's pretty close, actually. Actually, that's really good. So, but anyway, just kind of give you an idea. Yeah, you can create a bolt hole pattern if you wish. And again, you know, creating elements out of space, out of already existing elements, such as, you know, creating lines out of two holes or intersect points or whichever. You know, I mean, it's like I want to create an intersect point. You know, I just hit point, and I want to create an intersect point out of this line and this line, and say done. There's my point in space. There are just so many things that you can do and relate to. You know, and also one other thing too I want everybody to understand and remember is that on your comparator, on your light, on your surface light, whenever you go to turn your system off, okay, the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to turn off your light, okay? And you're going to let the fan cool the bulb down. This will extend the life of your bulb tremendously. Because if you just turn the power off and that bulb is really, really hot, you've cut the life expectancy of that bulb in half. Yeah, they will blow fairly quick. But that's something, you know, I want to make sure I remember to tell you before we close on the training. But again, and if you also want training templates, I think Dorsey has these for sale as well. So it might be something that they might be able to supply to you to keep on hand. Something to play with, you know, to kind of familiarize yourself with the software and the capabilities and what it can really do. There's other levels of training. This is more or less introductory to the setup. Well, not so much a setup, but you know, training right after we do a setup. And usually we have the employees there, but due to this virus thing, we're trying to do a video to where you can actually be trained by YouTube and without anyone coming in. But we would love to be able to visit with you anytime you wish. Okay, on the icons on the bottom, I just want to go over them again, is that whenever you want to measure a point, that's what this icon is, this point. And if you want to measure a line, that's a line. You just click on it. If you want to measure a circle, you hit a circle. But you know, if you want to hit a radius, you can hit the circle, but then it says, okay, there's my radius. If I want to measure multiple diameters, you know, I can hit that icon. If I want to key in a diameter, I hit that and it tells me I can just key in XY location and a diameter in space, and it's going to create me one. So, and angles, well, your distances also, distance between whatever elements. If I hit distance, I choose whatever element that I want my distance between, and I just hit done. There it is. Or again, if you want to measure, if you want to create a line or measure a line, if you want to create a line, just pick out, 2 elements that you want to create a line with, and done. Or you want to know the angle between 2 elements. You just pick out, okay, what elements are you talking about? What angles? Okay, so you say, okay, I want to know the angle between that line and that line. You say done. Okay, 89.57229. And also your alignments, whenever you want to align a datum feature, because that's one of the key elements too, is because when you're measuring something, you need to really do an alignment on it to make it square to the world. So whenever you do alignment, I can come here and I can measure a line until I want to create a datum there, or I can just tell them that I want to create alignment and measure my lines. I hit the wrong thing there. Done. Well, that was crazy. Wow. Let's see. I don't even know what I've done. What did I hit? Okay. All right. So let's come here. Let's go. Let's say, okay, I want to align my part. So I'm going to go align, and I want it to square it. And I want to square it to this surface, and I want to say done. Well, I actually want to rotate in the X. Okay. Let me try that again. I want to rotate 0.0. Done. And I want to rotate it again, except this time I want to rotate it 180. Done. Yeah, I don't know what I did at the starting, but it was wow. But anyway, there you go. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I can cover on this that will help you? I mean, it's a lot easier when I'm actually speaking with you or right in front of you. But again, this is the training that will kind of get you up and going. We're probably going to have a level 2 for more training in depth on other areas. Of course, we had to create a training for not only people that's operated a comparator and played with software before, but we're actually trying to create a software training scenario to where it helps people that's never even seen a comparator before. So we're trying to make it to where it'll work both ways, but yet again, we're there if you ever need us to help to go further to another level, whichever. Again, I appreciate your time. And again, if you have any questions with anything with Dorsey on the software or the comparators or any issues or problems, please give us a call. And again, my cell phone number is 615-476-6128. You can reach me at any given time. I thank you very much.